Hello everyone, I am Gabriela Alina Paraschiva from Politehnica University of Timisoara, Romania, and together with my two colleagues, Constanta-Valentina Mihaila from National University of Physical Education and Sports, Bucharest, Romania, and Laurentiu Mihaila from Valahia University, Targoviste, Romania, we are in charge for this presentation named How efficient are the Romanian sport federations? A theoretical and experimental approach. So, examining the links between performance and financial issues has been, and still is, subject of great number of researchers both in business and in the non-profit area. In this respect, the world of sports has not been bypassed either, using concepts and/or instruments from accounting, economics, or statistic areas in order to analyze a firm in the sport industry and his success. In line with this perspective, under EU Work Plan for Sport 2014-2017, Eurostat has initiated the regular dissemination of harmonized statistics on sport covering employment in sport, international trade in sporting goods, attendance at live sports events, private expenditure on sporting goods and services, and later on, active engagement in sporting physical activity as an attempt to leave behind a perspective dominated by economic issues and to replace it by a more nuanced one, the health and social aspects being also pursued. Although the social perspective of sport is much more nuanced than the purely economic one, we focused our approach on an intermediate perspective. So we decided to develop a three-stage efficiency analysis of the Romanian sport federations with elements that combine economic and social aspects. The first stage is devoted to the year 2019, as it is the year for which the data are currently available to 12 national sport federations and to identify an appropriate methodology to highlight how efficient the sport federations have been, reporting the results obtained to the resources used from a domestic perspective, meaning the participation in national sports events and the scores obtained. The second stage will be devoted to the year 2020, when all the data will be available, and to all 75 national sport federations. And the third stage will be devoted to the extension of the efficiency aspects to the international area. The selection of the first 12 national sport federation was determined by the results of a previous research carried out at the level of sport structures organized in the pre-university education. We decided to select the national sports federation that corresponds to the sports disciplines organized in most of the pre-university sports structures. So although the starting point is the pre-university segment, educational segment, the analysis exceeds this level, extending to national federations at the level of which both students enrolled in pre-university sport education and athletes are legitimated. For the first stage, we selected the following 7 aspects. 4 of them are inputs: the number of affiliated sports structures, the number of legitimated athletes, the number of staff for activities without patrimonial purpose, and the level of revenue per person from activities without patrimonial purpose. The following 2 are outputs: the number of sports structures participating in the national competition system, and the number of athletes participating in the national competition system. And the last one is an outcome, the scores attained following places and medals won by athletes participating in the national competition system. We used public data gathered from various sources, the Romanian Ministry of Finance, the National Institute of Statistics, the Romanian Ministry of Youth and Sports. Using statistical tools such as Spearman rank correlation, as well as statistical methods such as standardization, we developed an efficiency calculation methodology, and we calculated an efficiency index as a ratio between results and resources with the following meaning. At a value equal to 1, the index indicates that the results obtained are at the level of those expected. A value above 1 indicates that the results obtained are better than those expected in relation to the available resources. And a value below 1 indicates that the results obtained are weaker than those expected in relation to the available resources, and that improvement processes would be needed. So the results are the following. 6 federations out of 12 have the efficiency index values slightly above 1 or slightly below 1. And we concluded that for them, the results were at the level of those expected. 2 federations out of 12 have the efficiency index values well over 1. In their case, we concluded that the results were better than those expected in relation to the available resources. 4 federations out of 12 have the efficiency index values below 1. In their case, we concluded that the results were under those expected in relation to the available resources, and that improvement processes would be needed. And we developed a hierarchy of the 12 sport federations from the most efficient one to the less efficient one. The methodology is a statistical one, which considers both resources and results and resources, both economic and social aspects, from an objective perspective. The application of the methodology is at the beginning, and further developments and/or extensions are needed because, firstly, it highlights, however, only one side of the coin, that of the efficiency at the domestic level, throughout results and resources in activities and competitions at national level. It must be completed with the international level side, means with aspects from the international area, by including the participation in international sports events and the scores obtained. Secondly, it has to be developed at a complete database level on the whole cluster of the 75 federations by sport branches, in order to have a definitive picture of the efficiency index values and of the hierarchy of the 75 sport federations from the most efficient one to the less efficient one. For this first attempt to analyze the efficiency of sport federations, what prevails is the methodology itself and how it should be understood, the values of the efficiency index. The methodology represents one of the first attempts to value the Romanian Sports Federation's activity, which is not based solely on the scores attained following places and medals won by athletes participating in the national and international competition system. From our perspective, in order to increase the level of efficiency without diminishing resources, means that the management team of a federation should increase the values of the results indicators. Means the level of participation in the national competition system, structures and athletes, and the level of scores attained following places and medals won in the national competition system. So thank you. and I wish you a very good day.